Massive landslides struck various hilly areas near Mepari in Kerala's Wayanad district at wee hours, leaving hundreds of people suspected to be trapped. The fire forces and the NDRF teams have been deployed to the affected area with an additional rescue team. Torrential downpours persist in the area, worsening the situation. Many people are feared to be trapped under the debris, and the road has been washed away. In Manipur, landslides hit the home of a Manipur cop who lost his wife and child in the mudslide in Dinthanlong village, while several houses have been washed away in Derailed in Uttarakhand, following which large cracks have appeared on the roads. People are living in fears. Many houses are now under danger, facing a collapse. A Howrah-Mumbai passenger train derailed in the early hours of Tuesday, causing minor injuries to around 100 people. 2 people have been confirmed dead. The incident took place around 3:43 a.m. near Jharkhand's Charadapur division. All of the injured passengers have been given first aid. Over 48 hours after the tragedy that claimed 3 young lives continues to make headlines, Ministry of Home Affairs forms a committee to investigate the tragedy. All this while the centre and the opposition continue to trade barbs, while the Delhi police pins blame on the coaching centre's owner. Following the deaths of 3 UPSC aspirants due to flooding at Rao's IAS Coaching Institute in Delhi, Bhopal coachings are now being examined as precautionary measure. Upon investigation, the coaching centres running in the basement of Kotele Academy were sealed in Bhopal. The Yogi Adityanath government tabled the Uttar Pradesh Unlawful Conversion of Religion Bill 2024 to make stricter, non-bailable provisions and increase punishment and fines for unlawful religious conversions. The bill raises the maximum imprisonment term to 20 years, with a maximum of life imprisonment for unlawful religious conversions. Months after shots were fired outside of Bollywood star Salman Khan's Galaxy apartment in Mumbai's Bandra, Times Network has now accessed the stunning details of the charge sheet. As per the police, Anmol Bishnoi, the younger brother of the jailed gangster Lawrence Bishnoi, instructed a gunman to fire shots outside of the superstar's home to intimidate him. The police also said that the entire planned shooting was executed according to Anmol's instructions. In what could be the biggest indication of global warming impacting India, flight operations in India's highest commercial airport in Leh have been affected, with daytime temperatures reaching 36 degrees Celsius, rendering the high-altitude air too thin for safe aircraft operations. For the past 3 days, Indigo and SpiceJet have been forced to cancel multiple flights scheduled around noon, with daytime temperatures soaring way beyond normal limits. The Ministry of External Affairs has announced that President Draupadi Murmu will visit Fiji, New Zealand and East Timor starting on the 5th of August. The ministry said that the president will visit Fiji from August 5th to the 6th, and this will be the first ever visit by a head of state from India to Fiji. During the second leg of her visit, the president will be in New Zealand from August 7th to 9th, and on August 10th, President Murmu will visit East Timor, where she will hold a bilateral meeting with President Jose Ramos Horta. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar highlighted the strained ties between India and China on Monday during a Quad meeting in Japan. Jaishankar said that the India-China border dispute can be resolved bilaterally without any third-party involvement, emphasizing that India is not looking to other countries to sort out this issue. The remarks came amid the dragging border row in eastern Ladakh that entered its 5th year in May. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni met with the Chinese President Xi Jinping in a session where trade, cultural and economic relations between the two nations were discussed. The U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin met with the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida in Tokyo to discuss security concerns and joint support to reinforce maritime safety and cybersecurity in the Indo-Pacific region amid growing tensions with China. The U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Japanese Defense Minister Minoru Kihara held talks to follow up on the progress of command upgrade plans, Japan's sale of missiles to the United States, and other bilateral military cooperation. Japanese people rallied near the venue of the 2+2 security talks between Japanese and U.S. top diplomats and defense chiefs in Tokyo in a protest against the military alliance between the two countries, which they said has stirred up a regional situation. Wildfires across the western United States and Canada have put millions of people under air quality alerts as thousands of firefighters battle the flames, including the largest wildfire in California this year. The Rochester police has stated that one person is dead and at least 6 others were injured following a mass shooting at a park in upstate New York. An adult in their 20s was killed and another person suffered a life-threatening injury. 5 people were hospitalized with minor injuries. Rochester police did confirm a party was happening in the area at the time of the shooting. No suspects are in custody as of now. At least 8 people, some of them children, were injured in stabbings in northwest England, where the police said that they had detained a man and seized a knife. Merseyside police said officers were called at about noon to an address in Southport, near Liverpool. It noted a major incident, but said there was no wider threat to the public. The injured were taken to local hospitals. Helicopters were spotted hovering over a grassy area in Southport, UK, following a series of violent stabbings that left at least 8 people injured in northwest England. The dramatic response from emergency services highlighted the severity of the situation as authorities scrambled to manage the aftermath. In response to the alarming incident, Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemned the attack as horrendous and deeply shocking. Thousands took to the streets across Venezuela to protest a disputed election whose victory electoral authorities handed to President Nicolas Maduro. The nation was facing a political standstill after both the incumbent Maduro and the country's main opposition coalition claimed victory in the presidential election. Maduro considers the results of the election a settled matter, but opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez is confident that his campaign has the proof that it needs to show that he was the winner of the election. The head of the Crimea region, Artur Parfenchikov, said on social media service Telegram that a temporary dam at the White Sea-Baltic Canal collapsed on Monday morning, injuring 10 people. 7 of them were rescued and 3 are still missing. Parfenchikov added that 3 houses near the dam were severely damaged and several villages downstream were in the zone of possible flooding. More than 100 people were injured after several train carriages derailed in Russia's Volgograd region. Russian Railroads Company said that a train traveling from Kazan to Adler collided with a cargo truck that drove on the tracks after the signal of an approaching train was given. Despite the cessation of open hostilities, people in Yemen are still haunted by deadly remnants of fighting between the government forces and the Houthis group, with leftover cluster bombs, most of which are of American origin, keep claiming the lives of many innocent people in the country. A large explosion and smoke plumes were seen over Khan Yunis in the Gaza Strip. Israel's military on Saturday ordered a new evacuation of part of a designated humanitarian zone in Gaza ahead of a planned strike on Khan Yunis in the south. The order was in response to rocket fire that Israel said came from the area. Israel's military released footage said to show Israeli forces operating in Khan Yunis within the southern Gaza Strip. The military said it planned an operation against Hamas militants, including in parts of Mubasi, the crowded tent camp in a zone where Israel has told thousands of Palestinians to seek refuge. It's the second evacuation order issued in a week. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan threatened to invade Israel in support of the Palestinians. Turkey is a member of NATO, which includes the United States, Canada, the UK, Germany, and other close Israeli allies. Mourners in the Israeli-controlled Golden Heights held a funeral for 11-year-old Ibrahim, one of the 12 children and teens killed when a rocket from Lebanon struck a soccer field over the weekend. Authorities declared Ibrahim dead after a 24-hour search. Mourners marched in the streets of the town of Majd al-Shams, carrying pictures of Ibrahim and his coffin that were wrapped in white cloth. Amid fears of a major Israeli military response to Saturday's deadly rocket attack on the Golden Heights, Germany updates its travel warning to Lebanon, saying that air travel could be cut off. German citizens are urgently requested to leave Lebanon at this point. Israel's army ordered Palestinians to evacuate areas of the Bureij refugee camp and Shuhada neighborhood in central Gaza and head for Muwasi, which is the Israeli-designated humanitarian zone situated in far southwest of the war-stricken enclave. Protesters stood outside of a building in Majd al-Shams in Golden Heights while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other officials were visiting inside. They had come to express their condolences after a rocket struck a soccer field and killed 12 children and teenagers over the weekend. The protesters called on Netanyahu to leave during his visit to the Druze town, repeatedly chanting, "Out." Netanyahu had laid a wreath and met with representatives of the victims' families. Iran Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei formally endorsed Masoud Pezeshkian as Iran's ninth president. During a ceremony held in the Iranian capital, Khamenei endorsed a decree issued by the interim president and handed it over to Pezeshkian, officially approving him as the country's next president. Chinese President Xi Jinping held talks with the President of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, Jose Ramos Horta, in Beijing, saying that China's comprehensive deepening of reforms will provide a new impetus and opportunities for global economic development and bilateral cooperation. China has urged certain countries outside of the Asia-Pacific region to stop fanning the flames of regional tensions. The Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian said at a routine news briefing in Beijing while lashing out at the quadrilateral security dialogue involving the United States, Japan, India, and Australia. Malaysia has sent an application to Russia, the rotating chair of the BRICS, for this year to join the group. The country's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia's desire to join the BRICS organization was the main essence of discussions with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who called on Anwar as part of a two-day working visit. The Prime Minister's office said this. The South Korean lawmakers stated that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un appeared to have health issues and the regime is looking for alternate medicinal substances for the health problem, according to South Korea's spy agency. Lawmakers Lee Sung-kwon and Park Soon-won met with local journalists after a National Intelligence Service briefing and shared the latest intelligence on North Korea. Manu Bhaker and Sarbjot Singh clinched the bronze medal in the 10-meter air pistol mixed team shooting event against South Korea on day 4 of the Paris Olympics. Manu Bhaker becomes the first athlete in the history of independent India to win 2 medals in a single Olympics edition.